Oh, I was trying to bring up my menu, like swipe up to bring up the menu so I could start screen recording, and I accidentally hit the ball, and I did it twice. So now we're starting this off in the middle of a hole that should have been a hole in one. What in the world? Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Origami Snowman. Um, yeah, okay, that makes me feel better. I wouldn't have made it anyway. It's fine. How are you guys doing? I'm not doing great. I'm still sick. I'm like I thought I was on the way up. And I woke up this morning, I thought, am I am I dead? Turns out I'm not. I just wish I was a little bit. So yeah, I'm so over it. I'm going on a full week now with this stupid thing, probably more. I just didn't realize, could have used a hole in one. I could insult, meat injury. Man, it is rough. It's rough. Today I'm going to tell you guys a story. I haven't decided which one yet. Um, do we want to talk about the treehouse I built when I was like 8 years old? Uh, or do we want to talk about the time I met a police officer in a really inopportune moment? Um, I'm sure the treehouse story will be the most exciting. False. Let's talk about the cop. Okay, so let's go back in time to this would have been 1997. Okay, I was 19 years old, and I was a volunteer with the youth group at our church. I just a youth worker, and it was actually so. Me and all my friends were youth workers at the we basically just we graduated high school and didn't feel like leaving the youth group, so we just stuck around. And they were like, "Fine, then you can be helpers," and we are like, "Yay!" So we weren't the most level-headed young men in the world, as most young men will claim that they are level-headed. We also thought we were level-headed. We definitely weren't. So hang on one second. I'm fine. So the youth pastor's wife decided she was gonna have. Whoa, hello. She was gonna have a bunch of the youth group girls spend the night. Great. Awesome. So they had all these girls over to spend the night, and they had ordered tons of pizza. And the youth group guys, we weren't gonna have a sleepover. We were just kind of hanging out. Not there. We were hanging out at other places, my house and some other people's house. Like just no plan, just hanging out, running around, whatever. So I lived with my parents at the time, and my stepdad worked at a steel mill, and he got up at like 4 in the morning to go to work. And the girls at this little slumber party thought it would be real funny if they kept calling me like at 1 in the morning, which is that's not okay. And the problem was they wouldn't stop calling. And I don't remember why I couldn't just leave the phone off the hook. Like it was like this was in the days before cell phones and all that. I mean, they existed. We were just poor. And so, wow. And so, like, I couldn't communicate with them and say, hey, I know you think you're being funny, but this is a bad, bad, bad thing that you're doing. This isn't helpful. So, we decided, hey, we know we know how to get into this guy's house, the youth pastor's house. Even if they lock everything up, we actually know there was a flaw in sliding glass doors back in the day, that we were all aware of, and we knew how we could get in. And so we had this whole thing planned out. What we would do is we were gonna sneak in through the back door. One group of our friends, they were gonna drive up and down the street and get their attention. And then the other group of us, we had three of us. We were going to slip in through the back door, steal their pizza, and then run out through the front door. Just a quick strike, in and out, boom, boom. Okay. So one group of friends, one car, they were just sort of driving, recklessly up and down the road, being, loud and obnoxious. And we decided, okay, we got to park my friend's van in such a way that it can't be seen from the house. So there was a church nearby, and it wasn't the church that we attended. But it just so happened to be positioned in a way that if we parked in front of it, it would block the van from sight of the house. And so my friend who was driving it was his mom's van. He backs in around the church, like backs in, so we're blocked. I'm not kidding. We had barely put the van in park before, like, the brightest lights you've ever seen are flashing in our eyes. A police car comes screeching into the parking lot, lights blast, and we can hear the guy shouting at us over the little intercom thing, the bullhorn. He's telling us to put our hands where he can see them, and we were freaking out. Okay, and it was me and my friend who he was driving. We were both youth workers, and one 15-year-old student who, one of the best dudes I've ever known, just genuinely good kid. Never in his wildest dreams did he think this was on the table, and so here we are. For crying out loud. Here we are. My friend who's driving has his hands out that window. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I've got my hands out that window. And our friend sitting in the back seat can't put his hands out any window because minivans back in the day, they just had the little windows that like popped open, if they had windows at all that opened in the back. This one did not. And so this youth kid is trying to stick his hands forward through my window. And I can hear his breath, like these short gasping little breaths. He thought, oh, we're dead. We're dead. We're dead. Because we're looking through the windshield and there is a police car 3 feet in front of us. The door is open, and over the top of the door is an arm, at the end of which is clutched a gun. And that gun is pointing at us. So we had to then exit the van very slowly. And here's the thing. This wasn't a good look. I'm sorry. We decided to go the full, like, just the whole way here. Let's not cut corners. Let's really have fun with this and try to scare these girls when they see 3 guys bust in through the back door and run out. So we were all in like camouflage and like black shirts and like, it was. How do you explain that, right? How in the world do you explain that? So, he gets us, he's got us out. He's got us lined up on his car. He's patting us down. And he says, "We got your friends in the white car that's been racing through this neighborhood." And we all 3 go, "Who?" Yes, they had pulled over the other car, the other group of friends who were running distraction. And he was trying to get us to admit that we all knew each other. But we all three just straight up lied to the cop, like good Christian boys do. And anyway, we were able to convince him that no, we're not up to anything, really bad. He thought that we were trying to break into the church because just about a quarter of a mile up the road was another church 3 days prior had gotten broken into. And so they thought we were just running the gambit, just going from church to church to church, hitting them all, right? Easy pickings. And so they'd been staking out this church. And we idiots who were just like, no, man, we're just youth kids trying to steal pizza from our youth pastor's house. Somehow we were able to convince him that that's all we were doing. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how we were able to convince him because I did get a little sarcastic with him, which kids, don't do that. Don't do that. Just answer the questions honestly and politely and pray that, his he's wearing body camera equipment that will basically prevent him from just shooting you out of frustration. So anyway, he said, he's like, get out of here, take that kid home, and then you two get inside. I don't want to see you again tonight. So we took this kid home. I had to explain to his dad why he probably isn't going to sleep too well for the next few weeks. And then we, instead of going home, instead of making good on this chance that we had been given, this second chance, we decided, let's go back to the youth pastor's house and fess up and tell him all what happened. And so we go over there, and at this point, it's 2 a.m. And the lights are on. We can see people. So we knock on the door, we go in. All of our other friends are in there. One of them is in the middle of getting a makeover. His hair is up in pigtails. He literally has face makeup on. I mean, he's just having the time of his life. They gave us pizza. They all laughed at our story. They apologized for calling my house, and oh my gosh, it was, yeah. So don't do that, guys. Don't do that. How are things going? I'm on hole 31 of this video. For some reason, I feel like that story should have taken longer. We used to do dumb things in my hometown. Very small little town. An Amish community. The whole town, when I lived there were I don't know, maybe 1,800 people total. In the town proper, not counting the outlying areas, the farms and stuff like that. But it was there we go. Sorry, I had to turn off the heating pad on my back. Oh yeah, I'm an old man. I'm sitting with a heating pad on my back, and now I'm hot. I think I might be going through menopause. I keep having hot flashes. So our little town, it was a farming community. There was just nothing. There was nobody around. It was. I remember we'd get very, very bored and take some quarters, and we'd go to the 24-hour coin laundry and then go for rides in the dryers. That's a thing we did. And then my friend Joe got cable. So that was a big deal because then we had MTV. One other thing we like to do, we would, when it was really hot in the summer, we would go real late, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. We would go out on the parking lot of the church that was across the street from my house. And in my part of the world, there are churches everywhere, literally churches everywhere. In my hometown, we have restaurants, banks, and churches. And we have one other type of business that you have to be a certain age and a certain level of desperation to patronize. I will not name those, but we also have a lot of those, apparently. So, yes, we have churches everywhere here. So the church that I'm talking about that we used to play in the parking lot behind, it's a different church than the one I almost got shot behind. So we would play frisbee in the parking lot because it was just too dang hot in the daytime. And so the funny thing is, the police would, like, after they were done patrolling the town, they would just park at the far end. And I think one time they asked who we were, and we showed them our IDs, and they were like, "Oh, you're cool." And they knew we weren't really up to anything. But they would just sit and watch us, you know, and that was it. That was the town I lived in. We didn't have a whole lot going on. Joe had a pool table that was wobbly at one end. Joe had a Super Nintendo, and Joe had cable. That was it. If you didn't want to play wobbly pool, Super Nintendo, or watch MTV, it was frisbee at the church or rides in the dryer. That was, how did that happen, by the way? That was a crazy, okay, whatever. So, it was a nice place to grow up. I wasn't a bad kid. I was a dumb kid. I did dumb things, but I wasn't a bad kid. I never did drugs or anything. And I would have said, "Oh, there aren't any drugs around to do." But I found out after graduation that there were plenty of drugs. Nobody gave me any. I think they took one look at me and they were like, "Yeesh, no, he doesn't need anything. let's let him just have his Ritalin and call it a day." How am I doing now? I'm on hole, 39 of the... How did I only do 8 holes? 10, no. 9, 39, 38, what? Okay, here we go. So, small towns are nice, small towns are great, but watch your back, man. Those cops, they're everywhere. They are slick ricks, man. They zip zap in and out. And sometimes they just don't have a very good sense of humor. I almost got a ticket one time because there had been a parking lot, a gravel parking lot, in this one area of town, and I had dropped off one friend at his house, and was driving back to drop off another friend at his house, and so I drove through this parking lot, this gravel parking lot, and it had snowed quite a lot, and so the parking lot wasn't plowed or anything, so I just kind of cut across it, and then into another parking lot, and then out onto a main road where I could turn and then take my friend home. And so here's the thing: I didn't know this, but that gravel parking lot, they had recently. And it was a late season snow, by the way. So it was springtime, but then it had snowed. It used to snow in the spring back in the day, 100 years ago, before fossil fuels. So they had basically scraped all the gravel, tilled the whole lot, and then seeded grass. So what I had driven over was a freshly seeded lot. Like, they were it was somebody's yard, basically. Well, not a huge deal. Middle of the night, nobody saw. Except, I don't know if you know what a 1986 Capri Classic station wagon leaves when it drives through fresh snow. But they're called tracks. Yeah, my tracks were the only tracks in the whole town, because it had just snowed, for like an hour. And in our little town, nobody went anywhere that late at night, except for teenagers. So that cop followed my tracks and caught me right in front of my friend's house and yelled at me. And my friend, he was mad. Not at me, but he was mad at that cop, because the police officer used some language that wasn't very polite, and my friend was offended. He got his feelings hurt. My friend, he was a good kid. he was a bit of a Boy Scout. He was, yeah. I liked that the police officer used that language. It made him feel more relatable. So anyway, he yelled at me, and I promised I would not drive through that yard ever again. And I didn't. I did drive through other yards, but not that one. I made sure to keep my promise. So anyway, how are we doing? Oh, look at that. Oh, I almost took a shot, but here we are at hole 50. That is all. Thank you guys so much for listening to my dumb little stories about my hometown. I got lots more, like the time my mom came home and caught me painting our roof. That was fun. Anyway, thanks for listening. You can hear my voice get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Hopefully I'll be better soon. And hopefully my stories will too. Love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.